All right, so we should be live, I think. Welcome, everybody, to the Friday Night Showcase. I'm Mick Manhattan from thescenesnobs.com, and thank you for joining us again. I have two very special guests, friends of the show, and always fun time having them on. Mr. Steve Narandis, whose documentary, just like Will, just won Best Documentary at Skyline Indie Film Festival.
And so thank you guys, man. That was a serious surprise. We didn't know that was in consideration. It was a huge honor. And the thing, like I talked about before with that film, it certainly isn't made for that purpose, but that just sort of, it's nice to see that people are appreciating it because it means the message is getting out there a little bit. So it was really nice to see. We were thrilled by the support.
It's an amazing documentary. Everybody's got to see this doc. So I was in tears the whole time. Just like, this is beautiful. Like, I'm not sad, but I'm not like, it's rough content, but you're not sad because they're celebrating throughout.
Right.
And the music is beautiful and everything. But I'm just like,
and that's the idea too, is it's supposed to be hopeful. I mean, it certainly has to start with you understanding what Anne Charlotte went through, but the idea is how she turned that around to influence other people. And like I said before, when we were on the show before, the first time I saw the Will to Survive the stage performance done live, there were 3 kids in a row. They had a talk back at the end of the show, and 3 kids in a row got up and said that the show had saved their lives, that they had considered suicide previously, and watching the stage production encouraged them to reach out for help. So
wow.
So that was it was a powerful thing. So for me, being a young parent at the time too, it's like how can you not want to be involved with that to try to encourage kids to look for help when they need it.
Absolutely, and that message definitely goes right through, because I mean, even I was saying, like, how do I reach out? I have 2 young kids; they're going to be teenagers one day. Just keep in constant contact and let them know, like, and just try to always be there as much as possible. Not overbearing, but like, so the trust. I mean, definitely have the trust there.
Yeah,
sure.
And it's one thing for your parents, but to see, the kids doing the stage play and things like that, the peers, people their own age, it has a different impact.
So. Absolutely. That's 100% true. Things that you say to your friends that you never say to your parents, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. And we have actually the man who we had on last week. He's a dear friend to the show, and he's my partner on Pulling Focus podcast, of course. The man who runs Skyline himself, and I promise you that is not a crossover thing. Steve deserved this award in the movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's funny.
When you see it, you will know why, because it is the best documentary. But anyway, I have to introduce Brian Patrick, everybody, from the Skyline Indie Film Festival.
Hey, everybody.
No, I just had to mess with you about that because I realized my intro was going to be just like Will won. Here's Brian from Skyline, but it really has nothing to do with each other because I vote on everything.
That's really funny. Hey, and congratulations, Brian, on successful event again. That's it's really cool. It's tough to pull it off in these times, and I think you were way out ahead of a lot of festivals and figuring out how to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was a lot of work for you.
Yeah. It was a lot of work. It was different work, so there was no sort of venue wrangling and stuff there was nothing even like venue wrangling, but so logistics were a bit easier, and getting people involved was a bit easier because everybody was stuck at home for months anyway. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the virtual festival plays into hopefully what will be a physical or hybrid sort of festival next year. So
I was going to ask that if you're thinking about a hybrid kind of thing for people that can't travel. I think it's a pretty cool idea to offer both.
I think so. If as long as the money's there, it's certainly a format that was easy on the back end for me to set up and get going. I only had a few sort of emails asking about how to use the platform, so I felt like that went pretty well too for the end user. And all in all, we had a festival. We didn't have an interruption in having the festival, which was a possibility, a complete possibility. And no, I don't think anyone would have held it against us, but it's kind of hard in year 8 to like hit pause, so I don't know if we did it great, but we pulled it off. The feedback was pretty good, and yeah, moving forward to year 9.
It's great. What was
Yeah,
what was your favorite film of the weekend?
Um, a little sci-fi film out of Greece called Third Kind.
Mm.
So humanity had to leave the planet, and they are hearing this five note tone. So they come back, and it ends up being a squatter in a refugee camp, basically, and he's whistling this tone, and it's just sort of dark and eerie, and I just liked it. I liked the way it looked. You know, if I were to make a sci-fi film, that's how I sort of picture it. You know, as far as aesthetic.
Mm.
But then, yeah, so they find the person. You know, hey, come with me. But then, and he's in the stadium, and then when they leave and the people are gone, it shows these images of the refugees from Aleppo, I think, and then it's back into the film. Credits are rolling, and they're in the football stadium, and the football stadium sound system is doing the tone, bom, 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 and then it gets faster and faster and stuff. And I just thought it was really neat from front to back.
That's cool.
A
Did
nice,
they use the
slow,
Olympic Stadium there?
weird burn.
They
Yeah,
use the Olympic Stadium because I think that's just free to use at any point right now, right?
that's what it looked like.
We got some cool. I'm excited about some sci-fi coming up soon. We're going to be showing at the Alamo. Save Yourselves is coming up.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see that.
Which is a really cool film. The first 45 minutes, had to hold my sides. I was laughing so hard. But then also Possessor looks really, really cool from Neon. That's coming out soon. And so to celebrate, we're showing some older sci-fi films too. We're bringing Primer back, which I've never seen on the big screen. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Well, you've seen the movie though, right?
No, I want to see it.
You've never seen Primer.
No, how is it?
It's incredible.
It's going to take your head and spin it like this.
I know of it, so like I know what it's about, the time travel and such, but I've never actually seen it, so I want to check it out.
That's one of the best movies I've ever seen if you compare the amount of money spent to how effective it is. I mean, it's an incredible movie that I don't think they spent much money on at all.
Yeah.
It's just about storytelling and editing, really. It's incredible.
Yeah, they made the short for like a nickel. So
right.
That's my favorite saying. How much it cost? It costs a nickel.
Cost a nickel, give or take.
We'll drop $5,000 on it. Good old filmmaking. Somebody was actually somebody just put out some distribution company. They're so starved for content. They're offering filmmakers the chance, like we'll give you $5,000, but you have to make a feature film horror movie in this amount. Like you have to like apply, and there has to be certain, prerequisites before you even get chosen. But like I think they're giving like 20 filmmakers like $5,000 each, and it's like go out and make a movie for us, and it's like the distributor doing it.
Huh. That's it.
That's
it has to be horror. Is that what you said?
Which one?
Does it have to be horror?
Yeah, I think it's a horror distributor. That's why it's like they're like an indie horror distributor. They're doing it themselves. So yeah, and I just saw them talking about it, and I just kind of looked it up. I mean, I wasn't going to do anything with it, but I was interested in the fact that they're doing that. Like, here's $5,000, make a movie. And there's a lot of people who are commenting on the posts and such, like that's not enough, blah blah blah. And I'm like, come on! I was like, look at how many good indie movies, even horror movies, can take $5,000 and do something with it.
Sure. Well, and I think that's a good idea because they're going to spend $5,000 and at least make a cool 6 right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
profit, baby.
So how I mean, I went to Fright Night the other night, and like I know you guys were doing. Did you do 3 showings of that?
We did 3 screens. Yeah, it's funny because right now on a 100-seat screen, because of the separation that you have, and people don't really like to sit in the front row and stuff like that, you get to about 30-35 seats, and you're basically, people consider it sold out. So during the week, we have some flexibility where we can open additional screens because there's a lot of things that aren't on traditional contracts and so forth. We can just max it out when something is doing well. So yeah, that Fright Night did really well. Labyrinth did really well this week, which was a surprise because last time we did it didn't sell much at all, which was actually a surprise in itself because that's been a strong title in the past. But yeah, it's that's kind of the challenge right now is you put a bunch of things up and see what is selling and then you adjust. and it tends to be a couple new releases have done some business, but for the most part, it's managing rep titles and figuring out what people are going to attach themselves to. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, you have so much coming out for the Halloween season alone. Like, I mean, I know Hocus Pocus was something you're putting out, which
yeah, that just got. We just heard that that's coming out of the vault today. We've been wanting to show that movie for years, and so that's super exciting. But Nightmare Before Christmas, man, people have been asking for that for a decade. So that's really exciting. And as soon as we put it on sale, it sold like 100 tickets. It's crazy. So in this time frame, when tonight, I mean, Tenet sold 8 tickets in the dinner round. So for that movie to sell 100 in the first hour, it's like, okay, that's, so what traditionally would be just sort of the icing is the whole cake right now.
and it's funny because like as soon as it was put up on Psycho Cinema that you guys were showing it, I bought 3 tickets as soon as I saw it.
That's awesome.
It was the same with Scream. It was the same with The Thing. It was and Hocus Pocus, like you just put up today. That was like, as soon as you see them, like even my wife is like, get the tickets. Like it's pretty awesome what you guys are doing.
Yeah, The Thing is one of those. It works every time. I mean, you can show that thing twice a year, and people come every time. It's so great on the big screen. But there's just it's a handful of horror movies. That one, The Shining, always sells. Alien, when we used to be able to do that one, that's in the vault. But yeah, there's some of those titles. But
I've come out for Alien every time. I love it.
It's awesome, right? It's the best.
And Event Horizon, I know that's a polarizing movie, but I love it. And if that's shown, I come see it.
I'm right on the positive side of that polarization. Let me tell you,
it's such a great movie. Yeah, I would love to see Event Horizon. I saw it in theaters when it came out, but I would love to go see it again. Like that's such a good movie.
Listen, even just go for the last 3 or 4 minutes and hear that Prodigy song over the credits. That's all you need to do.
That's true. You've been itching for music all week. All right, we can get into GNR. No problem. You want to talk about GNR all night? We can talk about them.
No more of that.
You got me to the point now where when I'll just be playing music on YouTube on the TV, and November Rain for some reason keeps popping up, even though I've never typed it in. It just pops up because I listen to Bon Jovi and they equate it in some way.
Dude.
I have to turn it off before my kids listen to it because I'm like, Steve's just gonna yell at me.
You know what
bad
it is?
Parenting. Bad parenting.
It's James Cameron Titanic of songs because it's way too long and people think it's a lot better than it is.
Oh yeah, every time I see that on TV,
overrated for sure. For sure.
I mean, I get the visual effects of the time, which was not anything anybody was talking about anyway. They were talking about Leo, and that's about it. But
I thought you were talking about November Rain. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
I'm very confused here.
I abandoned talking about November Rain.
Oh man.
Oh
my God.
So, well, let me ask because I do want to talk about music because I always learn something when I'm talking to you guys. Because it's not my forte to know everything, and you guys do. So I'm excited. But going
not
to
this
movie,
guy.
Hold on. Yeah, know everything up until about 1991, and then I hit a wall.
Come on, you didn't get in the grunge era?
I'm good. You know what I'm good for? I'm good for rock category on Jeopardy with all those old gray hairs.
if we could play for a team, right? It's like build your Jeopardy team.
That's exactly right. Oh man. That's funny.
Well, I'm at the stage where like I had all this like 60s and 70s music in my head when I was a kid up through probably mid 90s or so. And then I liked air quote alternative music, but I couldn't keep, there were so many bands and they came out so fast and some of the names were so similar. I couldn't get the titles right. And I was like, oh, this is the first sign of me aging, right? I'm aging out of music. I'm so depressed. Right. But at this point, it's like, if I take in something new, I have to lose something old. Like it's like the capacity has been met. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I don't even know. Some things just get annoying to me at this point. A lot of 90s music that I really liked growing up, I can't do it anymore. I just can't listen to it.
Like, for example?
All right, don't kick my ass over this, but Audio Slave.
Oh yeah, no, there would be no ass kicking. I thought that was a cool little record when it came out, the first record. But at this point, if I hear that, I'm like, why am I not just listening to either early Soundgarden
Yeah.
or some Rage? Because it just doesn't. I mean, it was fine. I didn't mind it, but it was like I didn't think that was ever as good as either of the original bands.
Yeah, that was something I missed completely. That was like one of those songs, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is that." They had a hit. What was it? Like a Slave, maybe, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And I was like, "Okay, yeah," but I could never like Audio Slave never registered with me, and even though it was Chris Cornell and everybody else, so
yeah,
it's like
I think like the
missed.
one band. Well, there's one guy anyway, but the band that I can still listen to without any problems is still Nine Inch Nails. Now, I'm not saying their stuff still kind of could be a little down sometimes you listen to it, but I think it's because Trent Reznor is still giving us so much, even in the world of movies, not just music. So like you have so much music from him. I'm kind of like, all right, I can still Nine Inch Nails. I don't have any problem with.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before that the last time we did this that I saw Nine Inch Nails twice in the original 930 Club, which was like 300 capacity. But I only knew about them because one of my favorite bands was called Meat Beat Manifesto. I love that band, and so Nine Inch Nails was opening, so I'm like, oh, they must be pretty cool if they're on the road with Meat Beat, and so. So I missed the show, but I bought the record. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then like 2 months later, they came back and they flipped who was headlining, And then next thing you know, Nine Inch Nails is massive and Meat Beat's still playing the old 930 Club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny how.
Keep in mind, the old 930 closed 20 years ago. They're still playing
there. It's funny how the same tour, like from the beginning of the tour to the end of the tour, like the lineup can change of who's headlining and who's opening. I remember seeing that with like Toad the Wet Sprocket and the Gem Blossoms or something. It's like they completely flip-flopped just in 1 year.
Because I assume Toad was headlining first.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then they realized
Gem Blossoms
one song and
blew up.
They had one song and Gem Blossoms had two. Got to flip that.
Oh yeah, they get to play longer.
Well, let me ask you guys this: what's one of the? I know it's hard to ask. Like, what's your favorite? Maybe you have the answer, but like your favorite live experience. Like, it doesn't even have to be your favorite band or anything, but just like your favorite going to see somebody live. You're just like, this is the ultimate experience.
Like, sort of generally, or like, or from memory, like actual experience.
Like actual experience.
Oh God.
I got a few that stand out. One was I saw Prince on Diamond and Pearls, and what was really cool was that they played the Patriot Center, right? And they had it sort of half of the stadium closed off, so it wasn't a huge crowd. It was 5,000-6,000 people, and he was playing and played for about 90 minutes, 2 hours, something like that, and left. And the lights came up, and the girl I was dating at the time said, "There's a second set. I heard about it on MTV, so we're staying." I'm like, well, the lights are up. They didn't say anything. So it'd be the first time in history that happened. So we stood around there, and the place is just clearing out. Everybody's leaving. And eventually there's about 15% of the people left, and it had been a half hour. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And she's like, no, I'm telling you it's happening. And then over the PA, guy comes on and says, Prince will be right back out for a second set. And he came out and did all the hits, like 2 hours of hit after hit, because he was playing all the new stuff early, right? So it was just like all of a sudden he comes out, it's like Kiss and Little Red Corvette and Let's Go Crazy.
That's pretty badass.
And there was nobody there.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Then the other one that comes to mind, which not that long ago, was with Lamb of God, where they were on the road they were headlining, but In Flames was opening. Hatebreed was there that I'm not that into, but the deal was that if you guys know about Lamb of God, the singer had been arrested overseas. They charged him with murder because of something that had happened at a show. You can look this up, but the claim was that somebody jumped on stage and he threw him back off stage because the security wasn't doing their job and so forth. And there's videos of the show, so you can watch security throwing people onto like concrete and stuff. anyway, this kid left the show and ended up dying later. And they were charging the singer with murder. Nobody knew. So when they came back to tour in that country again, I think Czech Republic, they came back to play there again. The plane was boarded by police, and they're like, "You're under arrest, and you're staying here." It's also, there's a documentary by Don Argot called "As the Palaces Burn," where he was just filming just a little puff piece for the band as this happened, and so it turned into the story of the arrest and the trial and so forth. But they let him out of jail, and they did a quick tour when he was still going back for the trial, so they didn't know. Nobody knew he was going to have to go back. Nobody knew if he was just going to stay there, if this was the end, the last time Lamb of God was ever going to play. So the crowd was, of course, going insane. The band was super on, and it was at the Fillmore in DC. And that just, I've never seen, that place was like 2,000, it was a 2,000 person pit. It was crazy. So that was, and I was just like, all emotional because it was a favorite band. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see them play, and they're at their prime, and it's like, they're just killing it. So that was incredible. And just because of the circumstances of it, they're always good, but that particular show, they just were on fire. And it was, and everybody knew that it was maybe the last shot. So that was cool.
That is.
Planets aligned, the stars aligned.
Yeah. Luckily it wasn't the last time,
What about you, Brian? What you got?
I don't know, man. I enjoy live shows, period. So
maybe the first time you saw Guar.
that was I was ready for that though. Like, it wasn't a surprise what was going to happen. That was going to be a blast, and it was. But probably the first Lollapalooza. I was the right age. I was ready for festivals. We were partying and drinking and having a good time. And I ended up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ended up at a party somewhere near whatever, I think it was called Blockbuster Pavilion at the time. But we ended up sort of out in the suburbs, closer to Charlotte, and like bands that were in the show were there. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Wow.
So I met Alice in Chains guy, Lane Staley. Yeah, I met him and had a beer. That was pretty cool. So that was just like a cool first, like, meet a celebrity type of thing. That I thought that was pretty slick. And then on a totally different note, I went to I think it's the Grays Mountain Bluegrass Festival here in Virginia, somewhere in Virginia, middle of Virginia. And like, everybody that was on stage was staying close by in RVs and campers and stuff. And at bluegrass shows, there's a lot of people that just sort of stand around fires and pick guitars and banjos and dulcimers and stuff like that. And so we went over to this cabin. There was a bunch of people around, and this, like, again, people from the show were there hanging out with rednecks and hillbillies, which they're rednecks and hillbillies too.
Right.
But they're just hanging out drinking beer, and they're like, hey man, get off my cooler. And it's it wasn't Ralph Stanley, but it was people from Ralph Stanley's band, that kind of thing, because he's 1,000 years old. I think he's dead now. But so I think my best, like, I love going to live shows, and I've been to some bad ones, but unless it's really bad, it's probably pretty good for me.
Still fun, still better than what you're going to be doing otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I only saw one show at that Blockbuster Pavilion in Charlotte. That was the Chili Peppers on the Californication tour, but the opener was Foo Fighters.
Nice.
Foo Fighters tore it down. It was incredible. I mean, I'd seen Chili Peppers a few times. So it was just like going with some friends and stuff. I had never seen the Foo Fighters, and they were good. They were really good.
I saw Pantera open for somebody in Charlotte.
Huh.
And we went to see Pantera. Oh God, who was it?
Somebody
and
was
like the
Pantera.
The billing didn't match at all. So like when they got off stage, we like went and got nachos and beers and stuff. Like I honestly don't remember who the show was, but Pantera opened up for him. It was good.
I forget what year it was. I saw. I love them, every minute of it. Anthrax. They played at it's in Jersey. I think it was like this. I think it was called the Starland Ballroom now, but it wasn't back then. I can't remember the name of it. It was 2005. I think I saw them. Dude, man, they tore it up that night. And I had never seen them live. Like, That was one of my first experiences because everything else was kind of like I was always brought to. This was one where I was like, I want to go check them out. And it was just a great experience.
Yeah, they're Jersey boys, aren't they? Or New York?
They're around there. I don't know exactly where everybody's from, but they're definitely from the East Coast. And
Red Bank, something like that.
which one?
Red Bank.
Oh, good old Red Bank. We weren't too far from because Starland was in like Sayreville, so it's only like 20 minutes from Red Bank.
Right.
So like that was an awesome one. And we used to chase like go see all their shows. Like we went to Atlanta, we went to Boston, a bunch of places. Seven Dust. I love Seven Dust, and but it was just more of a fun experience, just I guess traveling to go see them all over.
Seven Dust, you know, I thought their first couple records are really cool. And I'm sure they're probably still writing some good music, but it's like something happened around that time where those bands that were kind of what metal was at that time, right? Turned into this, whatever this like rock star energy, this knucklehead. I don't know what that, you go to those shows and it's like nobody's got a shirt on and people like throwing stuff at each other. I don't know what's going on with that whole like Papa Roach and all those bands, you know what I mean? It's like, I thought they were all cool when they started, but I'm like, this has gotten not cool.
Yeah, if I'm at a show and there's a fire burning in front of me, I'm at the wrong show. And that's not just Slayer. That's band. That's like No Doubt. I was like, why is there a fire at a No Doubt show? What the hell is going on?
Well, it's funny because remember Sugar Ray, they got that one song that was a big hit, Fly or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were like a ska band and they were hard. And like when you bought their first album, yeah, you had Fly on it, but nothing else sounded like on that first album. And people were always like, when I went to school, people were always shocked. They're just like, it's not all like Fly.
That's like my music collection. I mean, I have some albums and I have some CDs, nothing to play them on. But like my Apple Music and my Spotify and stuff, I have very few entire albums because I'll hear something from a band. Like I've got something recently and my daughter's like, who is that? I was like, it says it's Clara May. I don't know who the fuck that is, but I like the sound of that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it with a band called Dizzy as well. I heard a song called Swim. And I was like, I like the sound of this. It's that pop synth ethereal sound I was telling you guys about.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the record is just like a pop record. I was like, well, I want more of that. And then if you hit in Apple Music, if you hit radio, it's based on the band, not the sound or the beats per minute or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to find, but I'm slowly building my pop ethereal synth playlist to chill to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that it's been in the past couple of months, all these young pop people are doing things that sound like they're straight out of the 80s, like Harry Styles' new stuff. Have you noticed that? It sounds like sounds like straight like 1983. There's a new song from what's her name? Her dad does the Achy Breaky Heart. What's the, you know what I'm talking about?
Miley Cyrus, yeah.
Her new song, I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like something I would have been listening to like freshman year in high school. 8th grade. Oh man.
Yeah, the 80s has made is such a resurgence now. Like everything is they're trying to be the 80s. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was fun, but it's like, are we idolizing it? Is that where we want to go? Then you guys should love Trump.
Oh, fuck. What did you just do?
Oh, that's funny. I just bought, I was claiming it was for Bert, and then I just used my birthday as an excuse, but got the, you seen this this company Arcade Up that does the old video games that you can buy for your house? They're recreations of the old, like the standing arcade games. Mm-hmm. So I just got the Star Wars with the original controller,
Yeah.
But it's got all 3 games, so Star Wars and Empire and Return of the Jedi all on one console. So for me, yeah, it hasn't stopped really. I was listening, you know what I was doing today? On the way back here, I was listening to Iron Maiden Killers, and then I played Star Wars when I got home. I mean, it hasn't.
Yeah, you haven't left the 80s at all.
I'm still.
So I remember that game, Star Wars, and we had this arcade. Remember arcades? And it was called Duckies. And if you took your report card in, you got like 4 tokens for every A, like type of thing or whatever. So I gave him my money because I didn't have any A's, and I was like, I'm going to play the Star Wars game. And I get in there, and I didn't know how it worked, and it was one where you sat in the booth, like you're in the cockpit of the X-wing,
Yes.
like X-wing fighter, and
Yes.
all I kept hearing was, "I've lost R2," and like, all right, so I think I just got hit. I've lost
Yeah.
R2. I was like, wait, we've lost him again. What's going on? So I'm like, put some more tokens in that thing.
Oh my God, that's
Oh,
so.
that game
But
was great.
it was all like wireframe, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and it still is.
yeah. I never got it. I never got good at that one.
You know what though? You go that one and it's still fun. I did a Star Wars game on the Oculus Rift where you are in the cockpit of the X-Wing and there's the Death Star and there's the TIE fighters all around, but it's actual space-time travel. So you're just moving very slowly throughout the entire thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
you're just like, this sucks. Space travel sucks.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to get over to the fight, and you're just like, all right, I'll be there in about an hour.
You're like in gravity, just floating away from the screen, right? That's pretty boring.
But
Spy Hunter.
By the way, Spy Hunter.
Spy
was
Hunter.
awesome.
I loved Spy Hunter. I spent a complete college fund on Spy Hunter,
Spy Hunter.
1 quarter at a time.
Dude, it's funny because a lot of the games, I respect Pac-Man and all that stuff, but it's like a lot of the things I really spent a lot of money on were the smaller things. Like Food Fight was a big one for me, and Time Pilot. All over.
know that one.
That's what I'm saying, right?
I was all about some Dig Dug.
Oh yeah.
Galaga, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Space
I
Invaders.
really liked Space Invaders. I really liked Tron in the arcade.
Tron was great, dude.
It was hard. It was so hard.
The light bike stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
Sidebar. I would pay $1,000 to go hang out at Ducky's for a day. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
They have to give me free tokens. I'll pay more.
I think a barcade would work around here. What do you, I mean?
I definitely think it would.
Oh,
Yeah.
For us anyway, it would be the three of us hanging out.
Yeah, and that's fine because we could open up the drawer and just hit go.
Here it is.
I see Brian with like fingerless gloves.
Yes.
Who's going to challenge me?
Got his members only jacket.
Yeah, Dana. Oh, members only. Yeah. I'll probably wear some parachute pants.
I was showing my 8-year-old popping and locking. That's all I got. I was showing my 8-year-old some Netflix show, High Score or something, and it was all about the history of video games. And the first episode is about arcades, and he's just like, "Is that what it was like?" I'm like, "Yeah, arcades were the best. I didn't care if we had Nintendo or anything. If we could go to the arcade, we wanted to go."
Mm-hmm.
It's such a sad thing that they're gone. I wish they would come back like that or something. Like I know in Asbury Park they have it's a pinball like museum where you can go and you can play for the day.
Yeah,
and they started adding more old arcade games in there, and they do pretty well from last I checked.
Incredible Flying Objects down on the mall. They have 4 pinball machines.
Cool.
Quarter play.
Which one they got? They got a Kiss in there.
I haven't been in there and
Kiss Dynasty.
Yeah.
I've always wanted that kid.
The Monsters. They got the Addams Family and the Monsters.
Well, as well they should.
I really don't know what they have. I think they rotate. I think he has them on lease or something, But
yeah, I think it's
cool.
It's really cool, man. I've heard about those in other markets. I know in Richmond they have a place that has the video games and you can drink, and I think Austin. So it's basically any place that's like hip young people are like.
Yeah. Well, Spielberg was part of one. And it was called like GameWorks or something, right? That was a thing that was in like the Mills malls all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And
Spielberg did that?
I think Spielberg was involved, but I might be wrong. But that was cool because you go there, it's all adults, it's no kids. It was 21 and over where I was anyway. And they had this as tall as the building. It's 4, not story. It was very tall. It's probably 60 feet. And you sat in this seat and you could go as high. You were in a helicopter basically, and that was your cockpit, and the whole wall was the screen, and you went on every axis. You could even get pretty close to it, but not so close you could touch the wall. I was like, this is awesome. It was also $10 a pop.
Right. It didn't last long, right?
No, it did not last long. Let's see. I can ride a helicopter ride or get a pitcher of beer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at the table drinking beer.
Yeah, there's that super awesome thing. I hope it makes it through COVID, but the Void that had just opened in Tyson's a couple months before COVID. But it's, it's a virtual reality thing, and it's through this kind of maze thing, which you can't see any of it. But Bert and I have gone and done a couple of things with the Star Wars was incredible. I mean, it's so awesome because not only are you like fighting Darth Vader and the stormtroopers with guns and stuff, but it's like they go so far as to like pump in if you're going through some scene in the outside, there's like wind coming at you and heat when you change.
Oh, nice.
It is awesome. But it's, again, you pay I think it's like $25 a person, something like that. You're there for about 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
it's cool. But it's like there's only so many times you're gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm actually surprised that a place like Winchester doesn't have an arcade. Like I know they have we did my 8-year-old's birthday party this year at was the laser tag place. And now, if you want to talk about going back to the 80s, that definitely has the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I found myself just playing the video games while they were all running around in the other room. I'm like,
Oh, I go in there with them and I slaughter them.
Oh man.
They're like, each of your little laser guns is named or whatever, and they'll tell you who had the most kills or whatever. And I'm like, yep, you're damn right, that's me.
Yeah, I'm not letting up.
And it never fails. One of the kids goes, my gun doesn't shoot right. I was like, I'll trade you. Oh, who got the most kills again? Oh yeah, this gun right here.
I just imagine Brian's first day stepping on the yellow footprints, and he's down in Paris Island stepping on the footprints, and he's just like, "Why are you here?" I just want to kill people in laser tag one day.
I was laser tag champ in my hometown, so.
Oh no! You were aspiring to be. You wanted to kill kids. You were like,
hey, I loved every moment of boot camp. Before I smashed my arm, I was begging for orders to go back to Paris Island and be a drill instructor and turn recruits into Marines. Like nothing was better than that. If you could get through the first week, it's the most fun in the world.
Wow.
I'm also a sadist, so.
Yeah. It must be, I don't know. It must be just the Marines I know, because both my brothers have said the same thing. They're like, any other part of the Marines are like, eh. They even went over to Iraq. They're like, nah, whatever. If I could go back to boot camp, I would.
Wow.
Isn't that the hardest
consequences. No consequences, and you're responsible for nothing. I mean, as a drill instructor, it'd be different, but God, like, get up, okay. Lay down, okay. March faster, okay. Like, this is what? Why do people bitch about this? Oh, and I'm getting paid, okay.
Oh, that's funny.
And you're not using anything while you're there, so you're saving money. Oh man, and that's
any good film versions when you watch that. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what boot camp was like. Do you remember any?
People cite Full Metal Jacket a lot, and that was just 30 years earlier than I was in the Marine Corps boot camp. So yeah, they get in your face. Yeah, they yell at you. Yeah, they talk about your family and stuff. And they just try to break you down or whatever. But
they were no longer beating you with soap at that point.
No, there's always rumors about that shit, but I never saw any. Yeah. I mean, there's always the equivalent of a private pile, recruit pile or whatever, like, because if somebody fucks up, everybody fucks up, that type of thing. And you're like, all right, you need to get squared away because this is getting old. All right. Yeah. And I weighed like $140 or something, so I could do 1,000,000 pull-ups. I could do 1,000,000 push-ups, because I wasn't moving any weight. They're like, push. I'm like, okay, I could do this all day.
You were like a perfect Marine over here. They tell you to get up. He just says okay to everything, and he can do push-ups all day long.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. And when the hazing thing started, not started, but when it like sort of came to light, and then anything that you had to do that was sort of deemed as punishment, the person who had you do that also had to do it. They're like, I had this gunnery sergeant, and he was like, Patrick, I'm going to make you push till you throw up. I was like, I bet you throw up before I do, because you got to do push-ups right with me. So, I mean, we would come back from Mexico. not sober, and get into PT gear. And Sergeant Cole, Bill Cole, love that guy. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna call cadence the whole time." I was like, "I'm drunk, not hungover. Let's do this." So I'd call the filthiest cadence, and he's like, "Get out of there! Get out of there!" I loved being in the Marine Corps. I really, really did.
That's
It was also just so everybody knows, between the two wars. I did not go to war, so different experience.
I'll tell you, you're describing what could possibly be my worst nightmare. If it's so forced exercise, already horrible. Make me drunk and then forced exercise, just forget it. There's just no way I'm making it through that. That is not possible. You guys have seen me. There's no way.
Oh no, my brothers both went, and I was just like, no, I'm a pacifist. I'm good. Claim pacifist.
Yeah,
No.
but you ended up being a firefighter, didn't you? A professional firefighter?
Yeah, it was a paid private company. We worked for the, the big tankers like you see at the beginning of The Sopranos in Jersey. I worked for a company called Kinder Morgan. They had their own fire department. They trained with the FDNY. What we did, all of our instructors were FDNY, but they had their own academy. So we would go and we would just study with them, and it was called their ERT team, their emergency response team. And basically, we were trained not just as firefighters, but hazmat. We were trained for all of it. Trained for paramedic, trained for marine firefighting, because if we had to deal with barges and stuff that were on fire, because they were the biggest at the time. I don't know if they are anymore. They were the largest storage facility for jet fuel on the East Coast. And that might, at the time, it might have even been, I remember they're really proud of that. So it might have even been the country, but they always had some stuff going down. But I loved doing that. That was back when I had a six pack. I looked good. I was just a well put together beanpole. But yeah, those were fun times. I was young, and I was a firefighter. It was good. It was great.
That's cool. I'm getting so old, man. Not only do I not have a six pack, I don't think I can drink a six pack anymore. I think we're at that stage.
Well, I know I can't. I proved that last week.
Oh God, during the Scripts Gone Wild thing, we recorded a podcast the next day, and it was the longest hour I've ever dealt with. It's like, is this thing not over yet? And I had 5 beers.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I ended the night with a six pack. And I tell you, what was it, like a few days later when I sent you the footage or the audio of it, and you were just like, listen, man, I love you, but the ums are killing me. And I'm just like, there was no way it was going to be anything else. I couldn't think straight. I
started keeping a hashtag count, and it's like, I got over triple digits. I was like, it's just too many. I'm going to have to tell them.
My hashtags.
You guys could have done the let's do push-ups till one of us pukes thing, and it would have lasted like 2 push-ups.
Exactly.
2?
The idea of a push-up would have made me thrown up.
2 again, like back in the firefighter days, I could do push-ups. Now 2? Yeah, right. I did that 22-day 22 push-ups a day challenge. Was like a month ago. Man, by the end of 22, I was taking breaks in between. By the end, I was doing a lot better. But man, those first couple of days, I was just like, all right, 5, I'm taking a break. And I'm on camera, just like.
You're supposed to do 22 every day. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, so it's to help build awareness for the 22 veterans, active service members or veterans who are committing suicide.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I have a friend who is an active member, and he did the challenge. He came to me. He was like, "Hey, you mind if I nominate you?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course." I was like, "I will do my best."
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I did the 22 every day. So
I think Mary did it as well, right?
Oh yeah, I challenged you too.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
You could have recorded it each time, man, and with the breaks and stuff, and done like an 80s montage at the end of the month, with cool music.
I definitely moved quicker. I was timing myself because I think that first time I did it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 22 push-ups in 2 minutes and like 30 seconds. And by the end, I was like about 45 seconds.
That's good, man. You're almost ready for presidential physical fitness test.
I was ready at 2:30 now. I mean, come on. I'd be ready at 5 minutes. That's okay. I don't care who I make mad on my shows. Nobody watches.
Have you tried to do a pull-up anytime recently? That is miserable. I mean, push-up's one thing.
I never could. I could never do a pull-up. Even when I was in the academy, they were like kind of all right with it because I was 6'6" at the time.
Yeah.
And they were just like,
stand on your tiptoes.
yeah.
Right.
Like, Kimball, man, you suck at these. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not good at pull-ups. Like, because I always like lifted weights for football and such. So I was kind of had an upper body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just prevented me from pulling anything up.
Mm-hmm.
Push-ups
but
fine.
there's-
Everything else is fine.
There's things that like body types can't do. Like I could do pull-ups, I could do push-ups, I could do everything in the Marine Corps except for one thing, and you'll never ever guess what it is.
Sit up.
Nope, I could bang those out, no problem.
Moonwalk.
Goddamn monkey bars. So they had this monkey bar thing that went like this, like 3 times, you know, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I couldn't do the second back up.
Yeah.
And they would make me yell. They'd say, Patrick, say it. And I'd say, monkey failure, sir. Monkey bar failure, sir. I never could do it. Never could.
Well, what was it like? What was it about that you couldn't do it? Like, I'm trying to imagine it in my head.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like a pull-up, right? A little. It's like it seems like it would be easier than a pull-up. I couldn't do it. I don't know. I could go up once. I could go down. I couldn't go back up. Never. The whole time I was there. Monkey bar failure, sir.
There really should be a tattoo or at least a t-shirt.
Monkey bar.
And then I have to
It's
explain
gonna
it
be
every
now.
time. So
We're all getting monkey bar failure t-shirts. I think it was week 4 of the academy we finally started doing rappelling off of the tankers, and I had never done it before in my life. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. And they're like, you have to do it. Like, this is part of the job. I was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, dude, put me somewhere else. Because those things are high, man. So we get all
isn't there a valve I can turn somewhere?
Exactly. I was like, I'm going to be a bull, which is the guy who stands behind the guy who holds the hose. And all I do is push him forward with my shoulder. That's my job. So that's it. So, but they were like, no, you got to do it. I was like, okay. But it wasn't like you set yourself up with carabiners and all that. They're doing it with the pulley system where the guys are lowering you. And I'm like, I'm 6'6", I'm about 200 pounds. I'm not doing this. It's like, I'm the biggest guy in this academy. I'm not doing this. I'm going to die. They're like, no, you'll be fine.
You need more guys on belay over there.
The only thing I can equate it to is after the first time doing it, I was like Napoleon from Bill and Ted. I just was like pushing myself back up, like, let me up again. I want to do it again. Like 6 times like that.
That's a great image. I want to rappel again.
And they just keep at me every time I went up there. Like, all right, put them over again. Maybe it'll fall at some point.
So did you end up being the guy standing behind the guy holding the hose? Was that your ultimate? Was that where you ended up?
They called him the bull. Yep. And then I got on the
Calling the what now?
the bull, because you're just kind of pushing like a bull.
We would call that a reach around. Stand behind the guy that's holding.
Hey, just because he requested it doesn't mean I had to do it.
Hey, we're fighting a fire here. We don't got time for that kind of mess.
But you have to do it. Anyway,
He just kept making me say, "You're the real hero. You're the real hero." And then I got on the foam gun for a while, and that was fun because they had a truck that just had like this big cannon, and it was just kind of like they needed a bigger guy to hold and control the cannon, and that was more for the barges if they were on fire.
oh yeah.
You know, so that way because it could shoot like crazy at distance. Only got to drive the fire truck once. I became famous for not being allowed to do it. They kept saying, no, Kimball, no. And all I asked was like, I just want to drive the truck, man. Just let me drive the truck.
Yeah.
And my second to last day before I left, because I was on light duty by that point because I'd gotten hurt. And before I left, they were like, Kimball, Drive the truck from there to there. It was like 30 yards. I'm like, I'm in. I was like, I'm doing this. So
Did you put some 7 Dust on for the 30-foot drive?
Yeah.
No, but you better believe that it was a parking lot, so I did swing around and kind of like
Oh, yeah.
I took advantage of that 30.
He played Radar Love.
Radar. Oh, that's good.
They were good times, man. I was looking for my old computer too. I think it's up at my parents' house because I have all my old pictures on there. I was like, I have to prove this to my kids at some point that I did something. You know, I wasn't just non-instant internet sensation Mick Manhattan.
Star of anger management.
I actually said that. Star of anger, man. Oh god. Hey, I meant Nicholson. I don't care. That's a great time. I was at Four Color Fantasies today, and Lori Havermail was telling me, and Christy Broy, they were telling me, you know, you should see if you can do a collaboration with them with the Scene Snobs. And I was like, all right, you know, I'll talk to him. So I go in to buy something I bid on at the auction. And I was like, hey, you know, Mick from the Scene Snobs. I was like, have you ever heard of it? And he goes, no. I was like, well, of course not. It's like, it was automatic in my mind. Like, of course not. We're getting there.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
Lori and Christy, man, they're fun. They, I think you only need one more. I could throw Faye in. You could remake Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, which would be a good time. Probably for that $5,000 that distributor's giving away. I think we have our idea.
There you go.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So they're going to give you $5,000, but you could raise more, right? Like, I'll come on as a producer for that.
I'm sure.
That'd be awesome.
That's a great cast right there. You're good. I gotta write this out. I'm gonna make it for the new age.
Yeah, I mean, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill is kind of hard to find, right? So it needs a new version.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, that might even be public domain because they show that a lot at different places. I'm not even sure.
It was not the last time I checked. You had to go through like the Russ Myers estate or something to get going. It's a little bit of work to get that film, or it was. Maybe it's changed now. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I wonder how that works. Going back to the theater real quick. Like something like Night of the Living Dead, which is public domain. Like, can you just pick that up and show it at any time, or how does that work for you guys?
Yeah, there's some sort of. I think. Yes, but I think if the person that like has a specific Blu-ray version of it or something like that, that maybe Shout Factory has paid for the Blu-ray, they might get bitter if you're showing their whatever version of it, that kind of thing. But you know, those things are kind of hard to keep up with too, because things will be in public domain and then somebody will strangely buy it for a year. And I mean, it happened with John Carpenter's Halloween, where it was you could just show it for a while, and then a distributor picked that up and was asking for like $100 or whatever. It was no big deal. But it's those things you have to sort of keep an eye on where they are, because those things do float in and out of public domain. But if that we've definitely done for free before.
Mm-hmm. But what's like in the Halloween situation, if you don't know that and you show it and someone notices or whatever, like, you get a letter, do you get a call? Like, what happens?
Yeah, one or the other. I remember there was one, this is a good story, where Alamo Corporate got together with Dogfish Head because they were going to do American Beauty, the beer that was based on the Grateful Dead record. So they wanted to do a big release party at the Alamos nationally and show the Grateful Dead movie. And so nobody could find who owned the rights. Everybody was searching for it. Nobody could get an answer to it. They're all like, well, just put $250 aside in case somebody calls, because that's pretty standard to pay $250 versus 35%. And we're just like, okay, so we're going to show this movie. So everybody ordered their kegs of American Beauty and everything and sold tickets. And about 2 days before the show, the Grateful Dead, whoever, like their management company or whatever, got in touch and said, we own it and we want $1,000 per location for you to show it. And this was 2 days before the show we sold 30 tickets.
Oh.
And so they got talked down and stuff. But I think we still had to pay like $500. to show the movie, just lose tons of money to do that. So yeah, people will come out that own rights and find you. It's easier now, right? I guess you can just have it set up on your computer where if somebody mentions the name of your film, it shows up, right? You can see what's going on.
Yeah, Google notification, right?
That's it.
I actually had an interview the other day. It was an Australian director. He's making a movie called Toxic Alien Zombie Babes from Outer Space.
All right.
Sign me up.
Love that title. And I know. And he's doing it globally. Like they're directing, the director and he's the producer are reaching out to different filmmakers from all over the world in different countries and saying, okay, here's what we need a shot of. Bye, Brian.
See you later.
He didn't want to be on anymore.
You guys ready to talk about Brian?
Brian was that filmmaker. So he's like reaching out to filmmakers all over and having them send the scenes, and they're directing through like kind of like how we're doing, and piecing it together. And he wants it's a schlock movie. That's what he wants. And I was like, so what are you doing for distribution? He's like, I have some theaters all over, like in different countries that I'm friendly with. He's like, there's a place in Iowa, there's a place here, and mostly in Australia though. And he's just like, I'm calling people. He's like, you can show our movie for free. He's like, I just wanted to be seen. I was like, Jesus. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, everybody's starved. Call everybody right now.
Yeah, I mean there's a couple situations where we've had that where a filmmaker will just contact us directly. It's like we showed this movie called The Worst Movie Ever, which is really hilarious, really funny. And the guy Glenn that made that, it just keeps making movies, man. It's just absurd, his stuff. But it's really funny. There's a good story behind that one because The Worst Movie Ever had the worst opening weekend ever. And it wasn't by design. He got it booked in this theater and one person showed up. So his box office mojo was $7, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So perfect. But yeah, that's the thing. He sent us like, well, how am I going to not show something called The Worst Movie Ever? That sounds fantastic.
That's kismet that his weekend box office was $7.
So perfect.
It's so crazy to me too. Like to see that Fright Night, it's not weird to me that Fright Night is so beloved. Like people love that movie. I'm definitely one of them. I came home and watched it like a day later. I was like, if you guys still had it in the theater, I might have gone back to watch it again.
Yeah.
But that's like for Tenet to see how it's doing, people being starved for content so much, but like how Tenet's doing. Although I haven't seen it, I've heard things about it, and that's probably why. But I was supposed to go see it, and then my kid got sick. He got a fever, and then we were all worried that COVID was happening or something.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest, man. Look, a Christopher Nolan movie to save the industry, right? I was nervous about it the whole time because as much as I love his movies, it's not everybody that wants to sit down and watch Memento, you know, or Inception for that matter. I mean, it's just like, I think they're great films, but you got to kind of be a film fan to like Christopher Nolan, right? It's not like right down the fairway. If they would have put Wonder Woman out first, it's like, great, movie business is back. We would have sold a bunch of tickets. But it's like Tenet was a risky one because, and I love that they did it, and I love that Christopher Nolan is so dead set on having his stuff shown theatrically, and it should be. That's just the way he makes his movies. They're just made for the big screen, right? But everybody was nervous about that because it's like, I don't know if that'll be the title that gets everybody back into the theaters. And then like my brother went to see it. He's more of just a mainstream movie guy. He's like, I had no idea what was going on.
That's all I've heard about it. And it's like, and I love Memento and I love Inception. And I feel like I'm going to like Tenet as well, if not love it, but it's not for everybody. It's just not.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, had the first thing been No Time to Die, the James Bond movie, or if it was Wonder Woman, or if it was Black Widow, something like that, I think things would have taken off a lot faster. But it was nerve wracking because all these distributors were like, we're going to see how Tenet does, and then we're going to decide if we're holding our movies. And it's like, that's not the title to decide if it's time to start showing movies again. You know?
Yeah.
How did Bill and Ted 3 fare?
It did okay. I mean, it did okay, but it was,
it was day and date though. It was available everywhere.
It was available everywhere. And the other thing, my understanding is it really sucked. So it was like,
Yeah.
You know, people that went to see it were like, nah, it wasn't good. So that doesn't help. But you know, you see the stuff like this Broken Hearts Gallery that just came out. That is another one that's like major distributor had pushed back, and then when it was time to show it, it's just like there was no promotion.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. I saw you guys were playing it and I was like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
It's selling 4 or 5 tickets a show all week. I mean, it's like, you know, the first day, the first 2 shows shut down, no tickets sold, you know.
Oh,
So the rep stuff, that's the one thing about rep. You don't want to count on that too much, but it's like, at least people know what those titles are.
yeah.
You know, if you put up Fright Night, people know what it is. You put up Goonies, people know what it is. You know.
Love me some Goonies.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's so hard. You can't really say anything because you guys are like one of the first theaters to open in the country. So it's like you guys are really the test for everything.
Yeah.
And now at the AMC opening, I don't know how they're doing. I haven't been in an AMC in years.
I do.
Um,
It ain't good.
yeah, I can't imagine they are. Yeah, because again, you're not getting the same experience with AMC that you're getting with you guys.
There's that. A lot of what we've heard, because we have, of course, we have the 6 feet separation between the rows because we have the service rows, and then our box office automatically and our ticketing system automatically shuts down seats, buffer seats on either side of you, so you're not getting within 6 feet of somebody. They don't have that at AMC. They've shut every other row, and then they ask you to separate yourselves because it's general admission. So what we've heard from a lot of customers, like, oh, it feels so much safer the way that Alamo's doing it. So that has allowed us to, like, as small as the grosses are right now, further extend what our market share is. You know, you want to say hi, Bert? My son Bert's here. Can you see him?
Hey, Bert.
See his hand. Hey,
Welcome
Bert.
to the show.
You want to show your Jamies? All right. So yeah, so that's what, but they are not doing well, man. And that, you figure that's got to be a snapshot for a lot of traditional theaters are doing, and it's not pretty. But
yeah, one question I had about Alamo is because I buy everything by the app, and I've done this twice now, so that's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah.
But just in case anybody else is as stupid as I am and you're watching, they'll have the answer. So I will have bought a ticket, and then you guys will shut down the seats next to us, and then I realize I have to buy, like, my wife a ticket. So do you go in or and just say, hey, listen, can I get the seat next to me, or what's the
yeah, what you have to do, it's a little bit convoluted, but you have to go back in. There's a box to check for I'm a huge idiot. So you hit that, and then that'll automatically fix everything for you.
I need one of those in life. I was like, oh, do over.
But I need a mulligan. So, but no, yeah, you'd have to call the theater and they can get that changed for you. But it's not. I hadn't heard about people doing that yet, so I haven't heard what process we go through.
I can't promise that I won't do it again. That's why I had to ask. Yeah, I did it the second time I did it. I was like, did I really just do this again? Just because I'm so used to, like, Psycho Cinema, she'll watch the kids, I'll go, and then I'll just buy one ticket. And
yeah, the second time it happens, the box disappears and they just kick you out of the victory program.
And they recommend counseling for
That's
couples.
It took me a long time to get the top brass. You better leave my victory program alone.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know why I'm so competitive in that nature that I'm like, no, I've earned this title. I want it. I was like, I need to buy more tickets now.
That's funny.
But it's good that you guys do keep it safe, and we've talked about that on the show before quite a few times. It is nice, like, going to the Alamo because it does feel safe when I'm there. Especially the wait staff, how they handle everything has been great. So I'm really excited. Unfortunately, I wish there was more new material coming out, but Disney, of course, is throwing Mulan and probably Black Widow on their service. And
I know, I'm not sure the Black Widow will go directly there. I think they might still hold for that theatrically, but I don't think it's going to hold that date. But I think I've heard some rumors that that possibly James Bond, that United Artists is interested in taking that date if Black Widow moves. So I think the first week in November should be a pretty significant one for us, regardless.
Nice.
of if Black Widow moves or not. And so that's good news. And I saw The Croods 2 just got added back onto the schedule right around, probably not a coincidence, right around where Soul is supposed to be for Disney. So yes, and so Soul is the kind of title that I think is more realistic that it might end up on Disney Plus, you know?
Yeah.
But that one looks great. By the way, when they announced they were doing Hocus Pocus, they also are letting Coco back out of the vault for a little while. So we're going to run that, that movie's just spectacular. If you guys haven't seen it, I love that movie.
That should do well. That should do very well.
I hope so. It's, man, that thing is sad, right?
It really is. And I love I've watched it about 4 times now. I'll put it on and the kids will be like, no, I don't want to watch this. And they love it, but they just don't want to watch it as many times as I put it on.
They don't want to watch you like ugly cry on the couch.
Fair enough. I was like, you're not allowed in the underworld or the afterlife rather. But no, it's I gotta tell you, it was nice. It's nice to be able to get back out to the theaters for sure. How long do you think, say James Bond does come out in November?
Mm-hmm.
How many theaters do you think realistically, like to keep within safety guidelines of people coming out? How many theaters do you think you would play for that?
How many screens will we'll probably have 6 screens of it.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, it's something of that size, because everything is so small leading up to it that we'll just maximize that as much as we possibly. We'll look at pre-sales and just keep opening screens until we run out of demand. You know, I mean, really, it's and that's the kind of movie too. Like, everybody loves James Bond, man. That's the kind of thing that it's like pretty safe to say you're not going to have much else for people. You don't want to get stuck with one movie that's really specific, a really specific audience, right? Where it's like, oh man, well, we should have some other things for other types of audiences. James Bond's a safe kind of like, oh, all they got's James Bond? Well, that's not too bad. I'll go watch the James Bond movie, right? So
that was the one.
I think we'll open up a lot of screens of that if it happens. But you know, we initially thought Mulan and Tenet were coming at the same time. We were thinking that was probably going to be the 2 movies that we had. You know, a couple one-off shows of other things, but
that was James Bond was the movie that, like, because they had just called it off at the beginning of quarantine.
That was the first big one. That was the first big one to get pulled. Yeah,
I think it was like April 8th it was supposed to come out, and I was all prepped like the week before to just binge watch all the movies to get ready for it. And I was like, at least I'll get to see James Bond before they pull everything.
Right.
And then, of course, like that week they made the choice. And I was like, you suck.
It's a weird time. You remember, I was all psyched. It's like, oh, thank goodness the Big Ten basketball tournament's still going to happen. And they did Thursday, which is like the playing games. And then they're like, we're not doing it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, the thing was, it's funny to think back because we're like, oh no, James Bond got pulled. That's really going to hurt April. I'm sure we're only going to be closed until like 1st of May and we'll be back, right? Right. So it's like, had you told us at that point that it was going to last as long as it did, I'd be like, and what movies were going to get pulled? If we would have heard it all at one time, I don't know how I could have gotten out of bed. I mean, really, I'm glad it's been spaced out, you know.
I just keep thinking back to just April or just like even the end of March, and I'm just like, the world was so innocent and pure then.
Well, like my world got turned upside down when South by Southwest said we're canceling. We're not postponing, we're canceling. I was like, oh,
right.
Well, that changes everything. So
puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah.
That's
like you said, but even like coming off of it, like you guys did a great job with the virtual side. I mean, unfortunately, that's just like this year. But for you guys to have that, I mean, I got to see 32 movies. We're starving for content. And last week I watched 32.
Nick's our super fan.
Yeah.
I went all in, man. I was like, all right, I'm watching it. All right.
You didn't watch the most though. I was looking at the metrics.
Oh no, I didn't.
Someone, Larissa,
so
a filmmaker who was here last year, she bought a pass, didn't ask for a comp, and she watched a ton of movies.
Wow.
Well, son of a. Okay, I
got
it.
And I love her. I love her for it.
Where I apologize because you've seen the metrics and you know your boy wasn't. Because I have to explain now. Because for one thing, I'm watching a lot of features because we're trying to figure out what to put on screen, and we literally are like, people are like, "You want to show this movie? We'll look at it and see if we can even promote it." I don't know. But then, the Virginia Emerging Filmmakers thing, we just today was like, oh, that reminds me, I got to send out the things for the people that didn't make it in. But we've accepted the films, and that was today. So that was like, it was much bigger this year in terms of submissions. So 100 and some that I had to like plow through, and they were a lot of them. Do you see this too? A lot of them were coming in late. It was like,
last
it's
minute.
available. It's like we had been open for submissions for 9 months or something, and it was like the last 2 weeks is just like every day a couple submissions, and I'm like watching all these films, so trying to get through that thing to get ready for today. So
And
Yeah,
then
that's,
when does
that's
that
how it
go?
always goes. Like we'll open November 1st for calls, and then we'll go through April 30. And like the last 2 weeks of April, last 3 weeks of April, I'll be like sweating, like, oh, we're not gonna have enough submissions. We're gonna have to, fundraise this, that, and the other. And then it's like, here come all these slugs of submissions. And I'm just like, oh, now I gotta watch all these movies.
I know, right? That's funny.
Yeah.
I
But
got,
so spreading out the call doesn't help, because they always wait till the last month or so.
And yeah, and we had moved it. I mean, we were gonna do it back in, well, it was gonna be in April.
Yeah.
And so we like extended the deadlines and all that stuff, and somehow just people, I don't even know how people find out about it. It's like the last 2 days we got like 10, 15 submissions. I'm like, where did that come from? It's not like we're spending money saying we're about to shut it down. They didn't even put a thing on Facebook like, hey, you better, because we got a handful of fans on a Facebook page. So it's like, what? I didn't even tell anybody that it was closing. So I don't know how that happens.
And which festival is this for?
It's with Shenandoah University. It's called Virginia Emerging Filmmakers Festival. So, and Brian's helped a lot with this too, because he got us hooked up with Chapman University and the person out there doing their film program. And those kids, man, Chapman University,
They're good.
oh my God, everything we get from them is like top notch, just pro stuff. But so it's high school and college kids, or we cut it off if you've been out of college for more than a year, then you can't submit. But so it's student films, and this year is a lot of kids from Virginia, but we get Virginia and Chapman, and then around New York, New Jersey, that kind of stuff. A lot of kids submit, but it's cool. We already heard from 2 of the filmmakers that are planning on coming in. One's from Jersey, bringing her cast, and one's from Virginia Beach.
Nice.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
cool, man. You can see some cool stuff out of those young filmmakers.
Well, they show up and they want to be interviewed. I'm more than happy to do it.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was an awesome time. I love talking to emerging filmmakers and just kind of getting everything new that's coming out. Things have changed since I've been in film school or even been working in the industry. I was been watching a lot of shorts with Strasbourg, Shenandoah Film Collaborative.
Yeah.
They're doing the drive-in, and I'm a judge on that, and they're sending me new stuff like every week. And man, some of these, like, I look at my short films when I started out, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, some of these people have some amazing stuff, and then I watch Skyline, and I'm like, yeah, what the hell was I thinking? Like, I just
Well, now there are a lot of submissions that come in that you're like, what were they thinking, right? So it goes both ways. There's some people it's like, have you ever seen an actual film at any point?
My favorite internal comment, I can't believe I'm sharing this, is like, I wonder if they showed it to anyone but their loving grandmother.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you need some pure feedback on this, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Listen, we've talked about my first film. I've shown it to the loving family members, and they've all said it sucked. So.
Well, okay. When are we doing Scene Snobs Night at the Alamo and showing that? Because that's now that's got to happen.
Everybody's going to be jumping on all right. So
He keeps bringing it up. He wants it seen.
No, I do not want it
You know what I'm
seen.
going to do? I'm going to sit there the whole time yelling, monkey bar failure.
And people are going to be like, what's Steve on? What's he doing?
And I'll just be crying out in the hallway. Bring my beers up here. Only 5. If I drink 6, I'll be hungover tomorrow.
Oh, man.
God, no. Yeah, it was called Second Grade to Love. Steve, I don't know if you had heard, because it's been talked about on some shows before. The behind the scenes footage is longer than the movie.
That's great, man.
And it is
Let me get this straight. It's called Second Grade Love. Is that what you said?
Second Grade to Love.
To Love. All right.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Because if it was called Second Grade Love, I actually think we can't show it at the Alamo. I think there's
That might be bad news, right?
Crossing some lines there.
Yeah, just look at the cuties thing right now, right?
That's exactly right, man. Or that dude from, you hear Jerry from the Netflix series. You hear about that today?
Yeah. From
Yeah.
Cheer or something.
Jerry got busted, man. That show was fan. I love that show. What Cheer it's called, right? Is that what it's called?
I thought I would
Yeah.
hate it, and then because my wife was watching, I was like, I don't care about cheerleading. And then like the whole show, I was like, oh, this is good. Are they gonna win? It's like,
I love that show, but yeah, Jerry, man, like got himself a little bit of trouble.
Oh, Jerry.
big time. Well, that cuties thing was. I mean, I didn't watch it, but like for in a time when everybody's starved for content, everybody now wants to cancel Netflix. It's welcome to 2020.
Right.
Nothing makes sense.
You could also take the approach that Netflix has 20 billion things to watch. Just watch something else. Who cares what, some movie,
Exactly.
some movie's going to offend you. Just don't watch that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's an easy thing not to be exposed to.
But apparently after today, don't watch Cuties or Cheer.
Or yeah, not anymore, right? Guess who won't be on season 2 of Cheer? Your favorite character. Well, no, I don't know. I all that controversy, all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, you guys, if it's the one thing you're sitting at home watching, maybe shut up. Like, just maybe stop the hashtags and just sit down and watch something else.
Well, and it's like anything else. I'm sure the movie is not. It's on Netflix and it's been brought up. I'm sure it's not really terribly. I'm sure I wouldn't be offended by it. It's whatever the thing is. It's like the people that I saw complaining about it, I probably don't agree with about anything. So
About
not too
anything
worried.
else,
It's like
right?
I remember when The Last Temptation of Christ came out and they were people on talk shows. The filmmakers are on there trying to defend themselves. They couldn't get a word in. People were just standing up screaming at them. Like, has anybody seen the film here? Because we haven't released it. And then just Bert. Just Bert.
Is TR2D2? What are those jammies?
Bring it on over here, man. Oh, come on. He's got some skeleton jammies on today.
Gotcha.
Ready for Nightmare Before Christmas.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah, but I always think about that when people are like, you want to ask us any questions about what this movie's about? And some guy stood up, it's like, one God and all this stuff. It's like, oh
Yeah, you can't win that.
no,
There's nothing you can do about that.
nothing you can do. And that movie was not offensive or meant to be,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, it was kind of offensive in the fact that it just wasn't that good.
well, I mean, that's another conversation.
Willem Dafoe,
But it wasn't meant to be not that good.
Right.
I mean, Scorsese, you wanted Jesus up on screen. That's the way you get it. Nice little Italian Catholic boy from Brooklyn. But yeah, I don't know. Everything's always offensive to people. People are just nightmares, especially right now because it's 2020. But I love them, and please watch and subscribe to my channel.
Right. You should go on Facebook right now. It's like, have you guys watched the Scene Snobs? That is the most offensive thing. That should be banned immediately.
Oh God, that's the best PR in the
That's the
world.
way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Cancel the Scene Snobs. I'm just going to start the whole hashtag.
Hashtag cancel
They were saying something
TSS.
about anthrax being good.
Hashtag
That's for the people that
hashtag
don't.
context is everything.
That's for the people that don't realize that's a band, right?
Yes, everything is a little bit off.
Yeah.
Oh God, speaking of that, and I know we're running long here, but have you guys seen the Karen Halloween mask?
No.
Guess who's
Oh.
upset about it? White women.
Oh, yeah, of
named
course.
Karen.
Of course.
It
we
looks
all
so
just-
good.
Times are hard for white women, man. You gotta let them
Can we
blow
get
up.
a bunch of Alamo fans to just buy some of these masks and then go see a movie at the Alamo, scare the wait staff off?
Oh man.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
I got to tell you though, I got to praise the theater again. I love the mask thing you're doing.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah,
A series of movies. I didn't pick up on it. My wife's like, they're doing a mask series of movies. I'm like,
Huh?
yeah, yeah, like Scream and Mad Max Fury Road, and I'm like, yeah,
Texas
yeah.
Chainsaw. Everybody's
Texas
working on
Chainsaw.
it.
And she's just like, yeah, they're doing a mask series. Yeah, I was like, yeah, the movies have like, what are you talking about? And it's just so dense, It's just
You're busy buying one ticket for yourself.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm
One
buying
ticket at a time.
He's busy excluding his wife from communal entertainment.
Oh my God! Did you see when we did the Star Trek reading? What I did?
No.
So she was she was doing the reading with me. This is what 2-3 weeks ago, and so we have an entire cast. I introduced the entire cast. I'm saving her for last, and then we just started. I didn't
Got
mention
to
that.
introduce her.
We got like a little bit in, and I was like, whoa, 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 we gotta stop. I was like, and my wife is here. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like I completely forgot to announce her. And yeah, she, I've been living with that for about 3 weeks now. And I don't buy her tickets to movies.
I think justified, yeah.
I don't blame her. But guys, this has been a fun time. It's always fun when you guys come on. It's good talking. I didn't learn anything about music today. You have any music recommendations for me before I go?
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'm not going to lose.
In Your Mind is the record I got most recently. I don't know how new it is, and I probably got it a couple years ago, but I've been listening to that for a few days now in a row. I dig it.
Well, one thing I got to thank you for that's been keeping me really busy, and I'll give him a shout out on here. Manic Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
My kid and I have been running around town doing these scavenger hunts. We have not gotten any yet, but we're having a ball, man. Yeah, he's a guy who makes some really cool. I don't know what he makes. What is it? It's like ceramic stuff.
Yeah, it's shaped clay, ceramics, whatever, and he's got a glaze on it, and they're either magnets or pendants or whatever. And he hangs them up around town, and he'll take a picture of it very close, and then he'll take a picture of it from 30 feet away. And on Instagram, I think he even puts the coordinates in, and you can go pick it up for free or whatever. And they're all over Winchester. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a really good time. And we've seen some really cool stuff too, like around Winchester, which I think is his point, is like get out and see things. So like he's made like little ghosts, pumpkins, witch hats for Halloween. He makes like some really nice leaves. Yeah, so anybody who wants to follow him on Instagram at Manic Marshall, it's really cool stuff. And then try and race me to get there. But I never get there on time, so you'll probably win. And I can't introduce my wife. I can't buy her a ticket. I can't get her a pendant. I don't know what's wrong with me.
But listen, you can drive a fire truck a solid 30 feet. So
no, yeah, 15 years ago I could. Not anymore. But I just want to thank you guys for coming on. This is always a fun time. I will definitely have you on again if you'll be on, because we have good conversations. But thank you. Anything you guys want to promote before we leave? I know, Brian, you're kind of...
I'm the worst promote guy in the world. Yeah, we got a film festival. Look it up.
Skyline Indie Film Festival is a very awesome film festival. Make sure you guys are submitting when it opens back up in November. And let's go see Just Like Will. It's a great documentary.
Yeah, so where's that available now? Is it on any...
It was available at Skyline, that everybody should have been jumping on there and renting and watching for sure. Yeah, there's another festival called the Awareness Festival in LA that's coming up. There'll be another chance to see it online in October.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, I don't know. We've talked about different things that we might want to do with it in terms of do we just make it available for free, or if it's what the idea is. It was initially, there was talk about trying to package it with a version of the show for schools, for kids to watch it in school, and
that seems like an easy or a good idea. I don't know how easy it would be. I
mean, that's the thing, is that was a conversation before everybody started going to virtual classrooms and so forth. So I think it's a little bit up in the air in terms of what the continued distribution of it will be. But those are the two things. Either it'll just show up for free online and we'll talk about it then, or it'll be packaged for schools to do, maybe do some of the performance at their school and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we'll see. As far as Alamo stuff, there's a cool movie showing this week called The Owners. That
looks awesome.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it yet. It looks awesome. I want to check it out.
Totally cool. You know what? If you guys know enough about movies and music to understand what I'm saying. But what I said was it starts off like The Young Offenders. If you ever saw that,
No, I haven't seen that.
go straight to your Netflix if you haven't canceled it because of cuties, and watch The Young Offenders because it's outstanding. But so it starts like The Young Offenders and like fun and just you're getting a kick out of it. And it's like a Nine Inch Nails video by the end. So
Oh my God.
that's what you're getting into, and it's tons of fun.
Sweet, I'm all in. The trailer looks amazing. So everybody, go out to the Alamo, check out the owners, check out everything else that's playing right now because there's some great stuff playing. Go check out and submit to Skyline Indie Film Fest. We're pushing this one, Brian. I mean, next year you're gonna have people from all over. I'm on top of this. I promise.
We appreciate that.
You have like 3 people from New Jersey.
Hey, Jersey is an untapped market for Skyline. So
I'm almost done with that next short that you guys have both seen like a cut of, and so we'll be submitting that next year.
that thing, I love it. It's
Thanks.
freaking hilarious, man.
That's cool.
I had to the first cut I saw. I had to text you. I was like, this is like a comedy, right?"
Just making sure this third person is not real, right?
It's so good.
Well, now I got to see it, and I will definitely check it out when it's in there.
Right on.
I got to wait a whole year. Jeez. But I am so excited. Well, no, I saw the. I don't want to give too much away because you're still editing it. I'll leave it alone. The music.
That's probably the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm just. I was kind of playing it up, but I did see it and I love it.
Well, yeah, it should. I mean, we'll see. It might be close to finish. The guy that's involved with that was moving. He's been in New York his entire life. Literally doesn't know how to drive a car because he's been there his whole life. And he just moved with his wife because everything's falling apart. Right? They just moved to Kansas City.
Oh wow.
So I guess his wife has family there or something. So they split the city. So there's not really any chance of any additional filming like in person. I ain't going to Kansas City. So so that is what it is. But I think so he's been moving for a couple of weeks, and I just heard from him today. So I think we might be close to getting some final notes together and getting it done.
Cool.
All right.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It was certainly a change of pace after just like Will. It was all the stuff I worked on is all music related, but it's in different. It hasn't been completely just like all just rock documentary. It's been in some different sort of formats.
Definitely for that, for sure, because the interactions in that movie are great. And I realize we're talking about it and not mentioning it, but everybody, don't worry. When it's out there, we'll make sure
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's going to be funny as hell. So you will check that out. You will check that out. It's got to threaten them. You will. But yes, again, guys, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a blast. Just everybody subscribe to the channel. Check us out. thescenesnubs.com. We got all our links and everything on there. And everybody's stuff's going to be in the description. Check out Just Like Will and check out Skyline Indie Film Fest. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.